Nancy mentioned about staff turnover. That's how I personally found myself in this project, because the different people who have been handling this space in the years before had left the organization, and then we had a cyber attack on the disk space server. So when it was brought to us, we had no idea what is disk space, what is a repository, and we were asking all those questions because the people who understood the technical bit had moved on several years. So that is where we started. And I'll mention challenges as we go on, but the earlier disk space was version, I think, 5.5. We tried to recover the 5.5 severally. We got a consultant to come and install. But whenever they used the backup that was available, the code was still hidden somewhere in the data. So the moment we put it online, it would get hit again. And we did 3 or 4 installations. And every time we restore the data, 2-3 days later, the thing has already been attacked, and it was bringing down the whole network. Literally, like when you plug in the cable, the whole network goes down. And we were very new in this space. We didn't even know what this thing does. So that's where we started. So with the help of the consultant who was working with us, we decided, why don't we just, because the information is available in the library, it's just a manual work to upload, but the information is readily available. Why don't we just migrate to the latest platform and deal with those issues as we go on? So that is what we did. So we installed Ubuntu 16 and then DSpace 6.2. The Kenya Methodist University data center is in the Nairobi campus, which is 300 kilometers from the main campus. The advantage of us here in Kenya is that we have an organization called KENET, Kenya Educational Network Trust. And what they provide is subsidized bandwidth for universities and colleges for research, such that the price we pay for connectivity between the campuses for wide area connections and for internet is really cheap compared to what we would pay for a commercial provider of the same service. And some of the advantages are, like, for example, if the cost of bandwidth, maybe if they get funding and the cost of bandwidth reduces, instead of telling us the cost has reduced, they gave us more internet for the same amount of money we've been paying. So we have been experiencing increased internet over the last few years. So the university data center is in Nairobi campus, of course, because Nairobi being the capital city of Kenya, it's easy to access technical services. So the ICT is headquartered in Nairobi in the university data center. We run a virtualized environment, which now, as I'm mentioning there, it helped learning this space very easy. When you use snapshots, and those in technical departments will understand snapshot. Snapshot is like taking a photo of the way the server is at this moment. So if you want to do a customization, you first of all take a photo of the way the server is right now. Then you do the customization. If the customization fails, you just return the server to the way it was before you started, and then you can start over again. So running the new DSpace on a virtualized environment made it very easy for us to learn, because every time we try something and it fails, it would be easy to just go back to where we were and start again. Sometimes if you are trying something complicated, you can create a clone of the server and try the changes on the clone. If they succeed, then you make the clone the live server now. And you keep on progressing like that. And someone mentioned this yesterday, when you're working, like the initial DSpace was on a box on its own. If you do an operation and you kill the server, you're done. Completely, you're done. I mean, everything is gone. You have to install from Ubuntu. But when you're working in a virtualized environment with snapshots and things like that, it's very easy to try out things without the fear of losing data. I mentioned about the cyber attack. It was very bad. And even when we started installing the new version, we kept being hit by the same cyber attack. And when you check online, there are a lot of complaints from other people talking about this space being, and it took us a long time to figure out where the attack is coming from. In my last slide, I'll mention I'll mention about what we did. So as I mentioned earlier also is that we came on board when there was a problem and we had to learn on the go. But there was a disc-based training at the beginning of this year. I think it conducted in Nairobi and another one in Meru. For me, that was very helpful because I did not understand all these things, collections, Dublin core, and I'm asking, what is all this? So that really helped me to start off this project. And that's how I was able to take it up. I don't work in the library. I work in the ICT. So sometimes library would want me to do something, but I'm overwhelmed with my own job. So that also has slowed down the process. But we started the challenge. We started working on this space around the end of last year. Then we had the training in January. But our this space went live in March. By the end of March, beginning of April, our this space was live. So ICT team handles installation and customization. And at this point, I would like to say customization is still a problem. It is very hard to customize this space and make it, brand it with university colors. But we tried. You could see it looks like chemo, with the chemo colors and all that. But it was still not fully satisfactory. So maintaining and hardening the operating system, because that's what we realized the problem was. When there is a misconfiguration in the operating system, such as an open port for maybe SQL or SSH, this space gets hit. So how we manage our this space backups and disaster recovery, mainly right now I'm doing snapshots. So I have a snapshot of a working version. So every time more data has been added, as we are collaborating with the library, I create a snapshot at that instant. So if anything happened, I can be able to go back to a working snapshot. And really going back to a snapshot when you're running a virtual environment takes like a minute or 30 seconds to just revert back. So the library team handles the operational roles, user management, uploads, quality issues, and such. Main challenges, I had mentioned about this, that several, I think we must have crashed like 4 disk space installations with a consultant. He would come, install, and go, and we'll call him on Monday again, tell him you have to come back and install a new one. Luckily, he is very friendly, and they have a long relationship with Nancy, so he was very friendly. He could always come back and redo the work, and we were communicating on phone on how to make sure that doesn't happen. But we crashed more than 4 installations, and even when we migrated, we kept having these challenges. But now, since the last one we installed in April, we haven't had a single cyber attack on it. Second big challenge was the technical capacity. At that time, when we came on board around March, April, there was a library staff who was very good in this space because he understood a lot of library stuff, and he's also technical, and we were working with him. So when he would get stuck on technical issues and I'm busy with that thing, I would help a bit, but then I'll come back and find he has already progressed, created community, started uploading stuff. But then he left the university. So we just left now me and Faith. And so it's been a slow progression over time. But the challenges of branding are still there. The way our data center is installed is that, let me explain this for even those who don't understand IT. A server or a computer like the one you're having, a server is basically a powerful computer. Okay, it's just like your laptop, but it has more power. The processor is able to do much more than that. It provides basically 4 things: processing, okay, memory, storage, and connectivity. 4 things. When you move to specialized servers, you will find that some of those things have moved from the server to a specialized device, like storage. So instead of having data stored in the server, like the way we have a hard disk on your laptop. We have a specialized device that provides storage. So the server only handles connectivity, processing, and memory. In more advanced systems, even the memory is provided by a specialized device, but we are not yet there. Those are for giant organizations. So about 3 weeks ago, we had a big power issue that affected one of our storage devices, and this space was stored in that. We are still in negotiation with the HP engineers on fixing it. It hasn't yet been done, but the data is available because the storage unit works in a pair. So what we call a cluster. So it's just one module of the pair that is down. So once the module is fixed, the cluster will pick up automatically and this space will be back online. And actually it wasn't just this space that was affected. There were several other servers that were affected. Most of them were not very core. The university could still continue working, and some of the others we installed on PCs and something like that. So our disk space has two interfaces, one facing the LAN for easy uploads for when people are within the KEMU network. And then we have an interface that faces the internet with a public IP, so that when someone is in the internet, they're able to see our disk space. Power issues are still a problem, especially in Nairobi, where our Nairobi campus is. We have power going out at night and weekends, and that really are a problem for us. The last point is this is for techies. What I realized is that when we have open ports on the external interface, if you're running your disk space and one of the interfaces is a public IP, accessible on the internet, and you have services such as SSH or MySQL open on the external interface, that opens the disk space up for attack. So if you want to check that, there's a tool called Nmap that will be able to check your interfaces and show you whether you have any port that is open on the external interface that is not required. If any of your servers facing the internet has these services open on the internet, then it will get hit. So for the techies, if you have a tool called Nmap, it's able to just check your interfaces and show. So if you're able to close the ports that are not necessary, then it is very hard to get a cyber attack. It's probably not everything, but since we did this and closed all the ports, we have never had a single attack. We could see attempts. Sometimes when you're monitoring the server, you could see attempts, but because the service is not running on that port, it just fails.